Maybe we need to do it like this, Sharps. Okay, I'm sure. Doomslayer. I really am. Running our education numbers here as a standard on the model. This is not the way to graph that index. And anything else comparatively, even if they're throwing this up.
For America's children, and it's so bad, even the New York Times is noticing. Kids are starting the new year in crisis, thanks to a year of pandemic-related social isolation.
Don't be late for meetings on the time clock for the agenda. Don't overmass it. Don't let the system smooth it out. Stay busy.
Emergency department visits. Suicide attempts are sharply up among adolescent girls, rising by 51%
even if you're a
since
sweetheart,
2019.
you gotta factor that a little different.
Gun violence against children has increased in places like Chicago.
Testosterone numbers from Tucker and the base on things, and
all that is on
up
top
down.
of the major loss in learning
You need
from students not being in
alpha
classrooms.
males, but you
President
can't have
Biden
too many
saying
of
today
them.
that he wants to keep
You have
schools
to be able
open.
to function alpha beta field theory correctly, because that's what it's there for.
All right.
It's a very useful tool
then,
for the subject matter, because I will drop field theory.
We knew during the Trump administration that kids were suffering, but why have we been so willing to allow
of this,
our
and
kids
Walter
to suffer
Guilford,
and disregard the damage to them,
I can't think of it
knowing that this was inevitable? I'll go to you, Greg.
I generally try to stay away from it. It's actually not good that I know those names for that reason.
We should come
right
up with
there.
a phrase called the 5 reality lag. Because we've been, it's the time between when we sound some alarm and when the rest, and when the legacy media finally goes, oh yeah, that is a problem.
Use it
this
like
is what's been going on with COVID
America,
since,
right?
I don't know, almost 2 years. And then if you look at the crime, crime issue, which we've been talking about, and then there's this reality lag. There's some obvious truths here. There's a lack of coherent structure in life. That makes life less appealing. If you got nothing to do, life becomes nothing, and that's what I think you're seeing a lot with kids who need structure in their lives. They don't just need a goal; they need a system. Because sometimes you can't meet the goals during pandemic, and then you have their leading comorbidity. 60% of kids that are in hospitals are clinically obese due to COVID. In hospital because of COVID are also clinically obese. That was a new stat. And it's like our country is run by Tony the Tiger. Like all this sugar and all these carbs, we actually have to face this. We have to have a reckoning with our diet. Because I think the pandemic has shined a light on a lot of these stressed areas of our civilization. Mental health, fitness, and diet. And we're finding out where our weak spots are. It's definitely our diet.
In the room,
well, there's no question. And David, you work out all the time. And what we've got are young people
psychologist right here about this review from Jake Sully, Flying Last Shadow.
I mean, how do we make up for
Hellboy
not just
dropped
the
in here
academic
with
loss,
Excalibur riding the dragon,
from, not just a suicide attempts, but depression,
the
anxiety,
Hulk,
isolation, panic,
Doomsday,
all of the emotions that these
killing
kids
Superman,
are
the
now
one thing you're supposed to
experiencing.
do,
How
and
do we make up for that?
Well, not only that, but we have robbed them of some serious
Stanley
academic achievement and accomplishments.
Well, the Spider-Man Homecoming, the new ones today,
they're going to have to
the Inquisitor's taking out all the Spider-Man.
Their competitors, like the Chinese, for example, are way ahead of them in terms of some of the big career choices that they'll have to make in the future, like STEM classes, science, technology, and math.
Well, Peter Parker got all upside down when the reporter come out and told
that said that 55% of parents said that virtual learning has had a negative impact on their child's academic performance. 60% said that it had a negative impact on their children's health. So we all know
which would have been
that
fine
this is happening.
in itself.
What the government is supposed to do, and we're talking about leadership in the A block.
The problem
Instead
here,
of following the 5 several months later, you lead by doing risk analysis, and Greg's talked about this a lot as well. So you do a cost-benefit analysis.
I give where
There's a whole office in the Office of Management and Budget within the Executive Office of the President.
I'm dopey.
Basically, that's all they do. For example, they want to raise mileage standards for cars, fine. But you have to weigh the risks of possibly making the cars lighter, which could lead to more accidents, more accidents leading to more deaths. And you do the calculations and you figure it out, and as rational people, we move forward. We now have tons of information. This isn't January of 2020. Schools do not need to be shut down.
Right.
Kids don't need to be wearing masks. That was in the Atlantic.
information.
Talk about the legacy media.
Here
you have David Lanhart of the New York Times, who is finally, well, I should say finally, he's been very good on this issue all along. The great thing is
she was running the law on the system for Supreme Court file cabinets. There's an alpha base here. There's a beta base here. No offense, Guilford. Because we got G here.
Well, Jesse, what about the fact that,
given the
are these
Amazonians
kids going to
these
be
days.
considered like that lost 2 or 3 year group in terms of, going forward? I mean, are people going to look back and say, you know what, they can't do as well academically, or they're not doing as well sports-wise, socially, because they're part of the pandemic-suppressed group of kids?
They'll be stunted, and they'll have a lot more obstacles to overcome than a lot of other students at the same age.
Yeah.
This country talks such a big game
Recruiter
about,
showing the
Judge,
reporter
put
how
the
to fold the
children
bed.
first. It's all about the kids. How often do we hear that?
Look, Doctor.
It's all talk.
Yeah.
Because the
Yes, drill
minute that
sergeant.
there was
No,
a
drill
little
sergeant. I drill
risk
sergeant.
that little Johnny could come home from middle school with something and sneeze on mom and dad. Oh my God!
Things
Panic!
break.
We're just gonna derail this kid's childhood for maybe the rest of his life. I don't want to downplay
Let's look at
COVID-19, but
well-rounded
other adults
Marines.
and other generations, Judge, went off to war.
Is it worth
in the
it?
Pacific, in Europe, to save their own
yes.
children from communism,
When we have the
totalitarianism.
result 1 to the number
What
in a
did this
classroom
generation
times row.
do?
Zebo's on first.
As soon as something came along that had a 99%
So
chance of survivability, they shut everything
let's ask
down.
the
And all of a
question
sudden,
again.
the media woke
Some of
up
the
to what we've
people,
been
I
saying
forget
for
exactly
at
what
least
the
a
question
year
was,
and a
but somebody
half.
would shout out.
Where have they been?
To the
They
crowd.
know
We
this
still feel the
hurts the
same way if
children,
we
but they
run
waited.
some base
And
test
we know
on
why
the
they
thing
waited,
again.
because
Would
it
it
was a
hit like it hit
political
5
move
seconds
to
ago?
wait. Now it's important to reopen. Now they care about the kids.
Too late.
They didn't care
Rules
about
of
the kids
order.
when Trump was president.
Fair shares in
it's
Senate
also,
seats for the
an election
Hamiltonian.
year, but Geraldo,
It's
it brings
gravity.
me back to the first question. Why were we so willing to sacrifice the kids
I think it's the
for
Hamiltonian.
the benefit
I do
of some
believe
of the
it's
adults,
Hamilton.
the teachers in
Hamilton.
particular?
Not Hammer, but we're talking
Because we were scared
states.
to death. I think that it's easy
area
now
of
to look
the-
back and
well,
say,
I think he did,
oh, we shouldn't have been as scared as we were. I remember a year ago, I just am now tested positive 10 days
Nebraska,
ago.
Arkansas. There's
A year ago,
look
exactly
for.
a year ago, my beloved nephew, Bob Reed, died of this disease. He was 60 years
Farmer.
old. Two beautiful
Truck
children,
driver,
Casey and Tyler, beautiful wife Michelle. He died. So the deep concern we have is it was not ill-founded. Now the Omicron is a whole different ballgame. But wait, let me just finish this. The gun violence. I live in Cleveland. We have a terrible rate of murder with kids and
I mean, like I
guns,
said,
and
you go through
every
Plague
big city,
Doctor
you
in
see
town.
what's happened
You're going to
across
go in
the
town.
country.
Who is
See,
the
across
best
country.
in this
When you take
area
away the
for
public
the
school,
peg on the
the
needle?
only
I found one of
structure
them. They
these
like
children
eat that.
have,
That's their
and
numbers,
if
which is
all
the
these
best of
guns
them.
in
That's
their
their herd.
pockets.
Like they make
what
the
they do is they
determination.
go
So
out
you
and
go in
they
there,
act
the
out, and it's
MS-13,
just
you just
horrible.
do
And the final thing
Bill
I want to
Ferrell.
say is that
Right,
I'm
I'll
very
show you
concerned about
gangster, brother. I mean,
exercise deprivation.
I bet money.
the
In short order,
depression that
PhD,
comes with
24-hour
isolation
hold.
as
Like,
the
if
father
I
of,
had it
three
on it,
girls.
and then all I want to do,
These are real
put you in
real
the pen
issues
for a
that
little
we have to
while and
address.
do it, because
And
big government. I just got to put
deplore the
I
fact
have
that
to be
it's
able to
two
walk over to you and
sides.
say,
There
I'm a
should be
government
one
person.
side.
In
How to
America, at some
approach
point in time,
Okay,
because
And Greg's right about
without
obesity.
contact there.
Yeah, he
First
is.
contact.
But, in the end, you've got the UFT, you've got the teachers who are still fighting to not go back. And that doesn't in any way
matter.
take away from what
Graham
happened
is coming around
2
here.
years
They like
ago.
what we're doing.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
What do
And
you
click
want?
here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews.